Welcome to the channel. My name is Pedro. I am a HVACR student in trade school. Most of my content that I put out, my hands-on experience in trade school, learning about refrigeration, heating, ventilation, and working on ACs. I started about 2 years ago on this journey, helping out a friend. And so working with him, I started thinking to myself, like, well, do I want to do this for the rest of my life, or do I want to go somewhere else? And so I looked into it. I researched. I looked up YouTube videos on HVAC, and then from there I seen HVACR, people working on supermarkets, working on the restaurants, and it got me interested. So if you're watching this video, you probably already wanna, thinking about looking into trade school, or you're thinking about doing HVAC for a living, or you're just thinking about doing it. So if you're watching this and you like my videos, please hit that like button. And if you want to see more content, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. So every time I upload a new video, it'll send it right to you. You pop it on your phone or your computer, and you can just click on it and you get to see what else I got to do in trade school, or anywhere else I've pulled my phone out. And if you're interested in HVAC, it's pretty interesting trade. You can work in supermarkets, you can work in restaurants, you can work in people's homes, big tall buildings. That's what I'm thinking about doing. I want to go to where the industrial stuff is. That's where, in trade school I just wanted to, learn about the refrigeration cycle and, do all that other kind of scientific stuff. But being in trade school, it opened up my mind. And I'm gonna stop rambling on, and let the video get going. Let it get going.
One of those doors by that furnace is there. One leaning up against the left side. Draw. If that vent draws well, it won't push it back out. Notice it's going into a little bit deeper pipe going up. Well, actually, no, that's pouring it all the way out. It cut out in 3.5 or 4 seconds. Yes, I know I just pulled the lead off, right?
Yeah. Why'd you do that? No.
But let's say that I walked up to it and the lead was on it. Hurry.
What furnaces are short?
Furnaces are short?
My meter
Oh, it's because they got a
tells me
return box at the bottom.
microamps,
So there's some easy.
4.6. Most of your boilers have to have like 1 or 1.5 microamps. Some of them are as low as 0.75. But they've got to see a reading back for that flame to stay on. If you got 4 microamps, I'm not driving. That means I got a good flame rectification, and the flame will stay on.
Man, I need to take one of the oven, find a furnace and stick it in my house. I can play with it.
What now?
What's low for microamps? I mean,
Microamps? Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying. If you got down about 0.7.
What you do?
It's on. Yeah, it's under. Is it under? Did you screw this in?
Yeah. Is it under good connection? Yeah, it should be. Should. Oh. Stick it back on there again.
Scared.
Now you're alright. Good.
There you go.
Cool. Huh?
Speak saying orifices reminded me. Or I ran into a problem with an orifice. Now they had about twice that big a hole in them, and it was about 140,000 BTU ribbon burner furnace. And I stepped up in the attic and I looked at the furnace, and he told me it's been lighting rough. So I walk up the pull downstairs, and the furnace is laying horizontal to it. And I'm standing there looking in the furnace, and I said, well, light it off. He let the furnace off, and it had about 8 burners in it, and they lit off, boom, 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 boom. You could hear them light off, just woof, woof, woof when they lit off. Well, it got to about number 4 or 5, and it hesitated. I'm like, turn it off, turn it. About that time, woo! It caught all them caught the other 3 burners, and blew flame out and tried to singe me. Flames coming out the side of it. You know the old hot rod pictures where there's flames coming out from under the hood? Well, it was doing that. And so I'm like, oh man. So I said, let me get where I can see and not get all the rest of my hair scorched off, and let's try that one more time so I can see actually what happened, you know. So it lit, it did the same thing. I said, good gracious. So I said, the only thing I know to do is pull the burners. It's skipping that burner for some reason. Well, I pulled the burner tray, and then you take the gas line loose and you slide this whole big old tray of burners out, and they're that long and slide out from under the furnace. I slid them out and I just started taking them off, cleaning them. Taking them off, shaking rust out, cleaning them out, checking them, and I pulled number 4 or 5 or whichever one it was off, and I look, and on the orifice, I can see something black. So I took my wrench and unscrewed the orifice, and what I was seeing was a black ant's butt in there. He had got in that orifice and was hung in there, and he was stopping up the orifice, and it wouldn't let gas out to the burner. And if you fool with enough gas burners, you will run across trash or ants or something. I've run across ants about 3 times, trash a time. Number 7.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go find it.
I love heights. Don't even say anything.
Yo. Yo, you wildin', bro. Don't be doing shit like that.
Coming around the I believe it's this one right here, if I remember right.
Check it again.
Check voltage at the check for voltage at the bottom of the fuse.
Yeah, my hand was crazy like playing in powder.
They do have some gloves here.
Check the length.
Check across both fuses for voltage at the bottom of the fuse.
Nothing.
At the top. At the top of the fuse.
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
That means that you ain't got voltage coming in the fuse, it ain't a bad fuse.
Inside the house. There it is, crossbow. The summer now.
Top. I mean, the top of the that voltage there. 300. 13 volt. Yep. Alright, look, you got your disconnect up.
It's the same problem. Hey, I don't have a drone, so
That's cool though.
Oh, proof's in the foot. Look here.
it's good.
Disconnect's bad.
Cool.
Okay. Tell you what happened. Anybody want to take a guess what happened? Bet you 50 cents in the last 2 days somebody changed the filters on it and the disconnect didn't turn back on. They did maintenance on it. The disconnect didn't come back on.
We could use them until we
Got a
get
bad
down.
disconnect. We can rock and roll with that. Okay, button it up.
There it goes.
Turn him up. Joanne's got heat, y'all are heroes.
Be a good car to go to.
There you go, put it in there and let it catch on that bottom catch, and then you can pop the screw with it and it'll be there. When it gets up and goes in at the bottom,
He said to put the bottom on.
you got to push up just a little more. Oh, you got it upside down. That helps. Now you can pop them screws in it. That helps. Roll your fingers up, can't you? Alright, so on a day like this, many years ago, we're changing the compressor and a heat pump on the roof. Me and the other service guy, this is before he quit and I got to run service. I'm helping him on the roof changing the compressor. It's about like this when we get the compressor out and it starts snowing. And by the time we got the compressor put back, there's about 4 inches of snow on the ground. But there was this, it was a place that manufactures tanks like these recovery tanks we use, called Lee cylinders. So they got this big old furnace in there where they anneal them tanks, and it looks like a Quonset hut on the roof, and there's a big fan in it, so about 20 feet out there, there's no snow on the roof. You can run over and stand in front of it and get warm. We'd work a little while, and go get warm. Then come back and work, and then go get warm. Y'all are heroes, man. You got fish.
That's a good one. Huh? Good drill. I got it.